day, awaiting each surprise. Let love lead the way. When challenges arise, breathe, then simply say, to peace of mind. Return to love, to these inside. Turn and return to love. Turn and return to love. Be present and trust. Welcome to the here and now. Take a pause if you must. Everything will work somehow. Each moment is a gift. Good and loud. Then return to love, to peace of mind. Return to love, to the ease inside. Turn and return to love. Turn and return to love. Return to love, to these inside. Return to love. Find the peace of mind. Turn and return to love. Turn and return to love. Return to love. Happy Sunday.
Well, that's the beautiful Rhonda Dene. She's doing all her own original songs today, so I'm so grateful. That's such a beautiful song. You're amazing. So welcome everybody. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown, those of you who are here in person and those of you that are joining us today online, knowing that this live stream will probably last beyond our lifetimes, even yours. And so welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Morristown, where we celebrate a new theme of the month. We're not quite following the Centers for Spiritual Living themes in the journal. We are calling this month Bringing Your Light. And it's the last month of a year of a grand rising. We're already working on next year's theme. Can you believe it's December? So today, my talk is what I've learned this year, because every year at this time, I talk about what I've learned because it's anniversary time, so you're going to hear a little bit more about that. So let's say hello to one another. We do a namaste practice, which means in Sanskrit, the divinity in me honors and blesses the divinity in you. So let's put our hands together and say namaste. Namaste. And let's treat our word for affirmative prayer. So So right here, right now, as we come together in spiritual community, we just remember once again, because means again, remember, recognize that we are so blessed to not only have spiritual community, which seems to be one of the great hungers amongst humanity, but the blessing of the beautiful teaching called The Science of Mind that we practice, study, learn, open our minds and hearts to and embody. And so today we together reflect. We reflect on the year, not just because of an anniversary, but because reflection is an opportunity to celebrate and to set new intentions. So I know that as we come together, we literally are immersed in this idea that there is so much to be grateful for and so much to celebrate. We start by celebrating one another, this beautiful community, this space, our history, our spiritual ancestors, and of course, being the individualized expression that we each uniquely are. So with awe and gratitude, we come to this moment of celebration, awake, aware, blessed, and grateful, and so it is. So, I need my notes. So, I want you to think about for a moment where you were in 1992 at this time of the year and what you were doing. You weren't born yet. You were an idea. You were an idea. You weren't born yet. I love that. Most of the time we don't think about that, right? If somebody says to me, what were you doing in 1988? But we don't always think about that. But for me, it has been anchored in my physical body, in my mind, and in my heart for 32 years. Because 32 years ago, this was my first Sunday at Center for Spiritual Living, Morristown. It's so bizarre to me to think in terms of decades, because really, it just still feels fresh and new, even though my time here is coming to an end. And so this is really my last, what I've learned this year, talk. And what I usually do is I share with you a few things that I've learned. So I spend a few weeks going through my journals. I'm a big journaler. I usually have 2 or 3 every year. I journal every day. And going through my journals, and then making a little piece of art, because I'm taking an art class about it. It's called A Map of My Year. People can take a look at that if they want to. And this is what I've come up with. So I was in my mid-20s when I started in this teaching in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. At that time I thought, I wish I found it sooner. I'm old. I was in my 20s. I was blessed and lucky and so grateful. And then there was a study period of about 6 years. Then I was staff minister there for 2. And then I was a spiritual director in Albany, New York for 3 years. And then there was an opening in New Jersey, which was the last place in the world I wanted to live. But you know what? When the universe has plans for you and you're paying attention, it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what's happening. You just go with it. And the moment that I stood on that stage when I was candidating, I knew that was my next place. There's a whole process that you'll all go through again, maybe a little bit different now, but it was where potential candidates would come and speak, meet the members, talk to the leadership council, and then the membership would vote. At that time there were 3 women, 2 from California and me. And I don't know, I don't want to stereotype, but I think California teachers are so different than a Dutch girl from the East Coast. So it was kind of obvious that I would be the one. These two lovely ladies were wonderful and found their place. I lost contact with them. And so every year I have been doing this. I go through my journal, I come up with some of the ways that I've learned, how I've grown, and then I share that with you. And a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, I let everybody know 2024 is my last year. That's not when I first started thinking about it. This is something I started thinking about a few years ago. But one of the things that I've learned that are not part of the three is that it's really, really, really important that when you have a big decision to make, that you sit in the question, that you meditate, that you pray/treat, journal, work with a practitioner or a minister, discuss it with the people that you're close to, and really take your time. Because I promise you and I guarantee you that the answer always comes. I was very clear that when I sat in the question, the answer would come. And it came very clearly on a retreat in November in 2023 or October that it was time. And then when I announced it, I was asked to stay a little bit longer because December is not a great time to have a party, and we still have an annual meeting that I can do in my sleep, so we're going to have that. And so the clarity is something that I so celebrate, that something that has happened so much for me in the last few years, where I have a big decision to make and I don't know what to do. I'm confused, I'm anxious, I'm asking other people, I'm reading about it, I'm looking on the internet, but then stopping and putting all that to the side and just sit and wait and listen. The wisdom is already within us and the answer always comes. And so I'm very grateful that the clarity arrived, because you deserve that. You know what it's like when you're confused and it involves other people. It affects everything and everyone around you. But when you're really, really clear, there is a peace and a harmony that's literally felt. When you're clear and you know, when you share that clarity and that knowing, there's no resistance. Might there be a little grief, a little sadness, a little stirring up? Of course, we're human. But there is something that happens when we're clear and we make a decision and share that with others. There is something different that happens than when there's confusion, right? Would you say that's true? Yeah. So there was quite a process for me of a couple of years. It was quite a journey for me. It took a lot of preparation, but the clarity was so crystal that it became a blessing and a gift. And when that clarity is that crystal, what happens after that is just like a snowball. It's just like an unfurling with so much ease and grace that there is no question that the right decision has been made. So I wrote in a yellow marker, and I can't really read it because there was a bright light on my notes, so I gotta keep going back to it. So it was a very growthful year for me, but not just a growthful year because I made this decision. It was a growthful year because it was a culmination of 40 years in this teaching. Taking lots of classes and workshops, doing lots of study, retreats, meditation, prayer, etc., working with practitioners, right? And so when I look back, what is most obvious is that 40 years ago, I was unconscious, I hated myself, my self-esteem was in the gutter. I didn't even realize these things because I wasn't conscious. So I projected all that onto the world, and decided that what was wrong was with people and places and things outside of me. You know what that's like, right? We still do that sometimes, at least I do. And so there was a lot of fear and anxiety I wasn't even aware of that manifested itself in eating disorders and messed up relationships and poverty, and all that was there. And then I also realized that I had a lot of ungrieved grief, which I actually think is, if we look at what's happening in the world, that's the cause. We see a lot of ungrieved grief in the world. And when we don't grieve loss, which happens all the time, every day, then we project it out there and it looks like anger, mental health issues, frustration, fear, rage, all that stuff, right? And I experienced a lot of that, and partly because I left my family to get away from them, but then people died in my family, and at the early time in this teaching, I just didn't deal with it. So, you know, that which we don't deal with stays around and comes back, right? It's that spiral. So it's all that human stuff that we all deal with, that I deal with all the time, that's part of our life experience. Of course, we're having a human experience, and we are spiritual beings first and always. So here are the three things. Three very, very big shifts that happened this year that I am so grateful for. The first one is I moved from either or thinking to both and thinking. I'm sure you're all there already. I'm a slow learner. But that wasn't always conscious, right? We're not always conscious of how we're thinking. So we look at our experience and we try to manage and navigate our experience, but we don't always say, what's the thinking behind it? And so what I mean by moving from either or to both and is I began to not separate. I began to not say this or that, this person or that person, that this thing or that thing, this experience or that experience. It became both and. When we live in a state of both and, it's much more demanding. Either or is kind of easy because I say, well, it's either this thing or that thing. I have to just make a choice. No, when we live in both and, it becomes a way of embracing and welcoming and going deeper and realizing that we are the cause to our own experience. And so that shift was incredibly freeing. And so I'll give you a very recent example. I just found out that Thursday, the fourth Thursday in November, isn't just Thanksgiving holiday. It's also, who knows?
Indigenous Peoples Day?
Yeah, a day of mourning. It's a day of mourning. This has been around since 1970. I just found out. So the story is that in 1970, the Wampanoag and other Eastern Native tribes decided to protest Thanksgiving and call it unthanksgiving because they wanted to dispel the myths that we're all taught of Thanksgiving. This protest happens at Coal Hill, which is above Plymouth Rock, and it's where people gather from all over the world to honor their ancestors, specifically the indigenous ancestors, which, by the way, we all have. Let's think about that. And so it's a celebration of Native resilience, of spiritual connection. It's a day of remembrance, but it's also a protest against continued racism, genocide, the theft of land, and the erasure of cultures. and the oppression of indigenous people worldwide. Wow, Thanksgiving and a day of mourning? Do I have to decide either or? No, I can have both and. I can honor both and. And then the question is, how do I honor both and? How do I live in the both and? And that is incredibly unique to all of us. As a result of embracing both and, I would call last year my year of grief. And I actually celebrate grief now instead of avoiding it. Because grief is about acceptance of what is. It's about welcoming the human experience, knowing that loss is constant. Not just when someone dies, not just when we go through a crisis. It's important to feel that, because on the other side is pure joy and pure love. So when I was doing either or thinking, I was avoiding the joy and the love. Now that I think both and, I can feel the joy and the love, but also the sadness and also the grief for humanity, for my ancestors, what they went through, for the earth, for what's happening in this country, and just feeling it. The fear I had was, if I start to feel it, I will die. I won't make it. I won't survive it. I discovered that that's not true. There comes a moment where I'm done, and joy and love rise to the surface, because grief happens because we loved, because we know love. And so number 2, the second thing that I really embraced and learned this year is that I'm a mortal being. I'm going to die. And so are all of you. We embrace our mortality as a physical human being, and we begin to think about that. Not just mortality, but aging, which we all just love. Right? Except those who are a little bit younger.
Yes.
I never thought about aging until I was diagnosed with cancer. I was like, oh, I'm old. And somebody said to me, don't be so negative. I'm like, no. I'm okay with saying I'm old, I'm aging, I'm older. I'm not going to live forever. It felt closer then, because that's where my belief system went. And so I then really dove deep into The Grace of Aging, written by Kathleen Dowling Singh, and offered it as a workshop, a program, a class. Some of you were there. And the beauty of that was to see how, when you as students dove into the material, how challenging that was. Of course, because we're faced with something that maybe we've never been faced with. So embracing this idea of, oh, I'm aging, it's a new chapter in my life. I got through adolescence, I got through middle age, and now I'm here. Let me think of it as a wonderful journey, as an adventure, and embrace it to the best of my ability. I happen to have 4 very close female friends that are at least 10 years older than me. And so they've always been ahead of me, and they've always inspired me, and they continue to inspire me. I'm blessed that they have young spirits, young souls. And at the same time, they share their challenges of aging and mortality. They're preparing themselves. So the third thing is, so both from either or to both end. The second one is my experience of aging and mortality. And the third one is freedom. I, at age 67, have never felt so free in my life. It feels amazing. And I am deeply, deeply grateful for it. I'll tell you what the biggest change is around that freedom. I'm going to draw it for you. All right, can everybody see this? So this is the image I came up with in meditation. So that is our human life. Make sure I'm doing it right. Yes. This is the human experience, right? Our humanness. You can call it our ego. And then there's to do, to be, and to have. The most general experience of this is not enough. That's why we want more. We want a relationship. We want more money. We want a different house. We want to feel better. We want to have more health. So it's always coming from that place of, I don't have enough, I don't do enough, I'm not enough. So I'm driven. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a very important awareness for us who are on a spiritual journey. For me, that was torture. Because my earliest core belief was, you're not enough. And I worked that one and struggled with it and wasn't even aware of it, and yet it showed up everywhere because I didn't have enough friends, I didn't have enough love, I didn't have enough attention, I didn't have enough money, I couldn't have enough food. That's what an eating order is, right? There's not enough food. There's not enough love. And so we work with those challenges that we might be having so that we can come to heal. And then when the healing happens, this is what happens. This is your soul. Again, do, have, be. What do you think the main experience of that is? It's arriving at a place of deep knowing that you have enough, you do enough, and you are enough, no matter what. That's freedom. That's freedom. That's where I am. I am enough, I do enough, and I have enough. Is it 24/7? No. But when I notice it, and I notice it more quickly than ever, I'm free. This is the truth, by the way, for all of us. That's the arrival of spiritual evolution. That's where we arrive when we do our work, when we do our practices, when we commit to love that's already within us, when we practice the teaching, when we keep surrendering. There is no right or wrong. There's no good and bad because there's no either or. There just is our spiritual evolution. So I don't know if you can even imagine how grateful I am this year at my 32nd anniversary. If somebody had showed me this 10, 20, 30 years ago, I would go, what the F? Easy for you to say. Now I know. And I share it with you. So I'm so grateful for being at peace. For being at peace. If I die tomorrow, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm not dying. I'm not planning on it. I'm good. I feel complete. That's a great place to be. My foundation, which is the key for all of us, our foundation, our spiritual foundation, the ground upon which we stand in consciousness, not this. It's never totally safe. We know that now that we've had earthquakes in New Jersey. but the foundation of your essence, of your soul, of your spirit. Your soul is the part of you that's whole, perfect, and complete already. If we notice anything happening in the world, is because we've forgotten that we are a soul. We are a soul. We don't have a soul. We are a soul, and we have a body. We have a human experience. We have an ego. Is that shift from being more soul aware than being more ego aware. That's the journey, to awaken to our soul, which is our experience of spirit, of God itself. It requires that we listen, right? And so instead of fight, flight, fear, freeze, all that has literally fallen away and dissolved. Again, not perfectly. Now it's about embracing all of it, because all of it is for the evolution of my soul. I don't know what the future is going to bring. I have no idea. I have no idea what's happening when I drive on 287 today. Could be my last drive, besides just my last 32nd anniversary talk. But if we embrace and welcome all of it, then we're centered and grounded inside our body, and we're present. Being present and being mindful is a constant practice for me. I have the biggest bruise on my foot. Eileen saw it. It's about this big on this foot. Because I stubbed my toe so badly. Never happened in my life because I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't present. I wasn't mindful. So I got to stand there, and instead of going, "You idiot," I go, "Oh honey, let's put something on it. Let's go take care of it. Let's put some ice on it." So it's that quicker shift from that inner bully that we all know so well to the lover that already is the truth of our very being. And so this shift is available for all of us. It's our inner work, it's our healing work, it's our soul work, and it's using our life. Somebody said to me recently, "Oh, it's easy for you to say, you didn't." And I'm like, you know what? They can believe that. I can leave it alone. I don't even have to say anything. Leaving things alone is so freeing. Getting over myself is so freeing. And it's just like, you know, we all have experiences in our past. They're there for us. They're not against us. So one of the things that I put in the middle is Milagro. When Reverend Janice met with us practitioners in January at the meeting, she did a process with the white stone, and she had a process of coming up with the word for the year. My word was Milagro. Who knows what that means? Miracle. Miracle. I'm a miracle. But so are you. And it's time for us to identify with our miraculousness, right? For all of us. So I want to read just a couple of quotes that were in Science of Mind magazine this week. It's supposed to be in the mail this week. This is the printed version that I sent to all of you. And this is by Ernest Holmes. We're all bound, tied hand and foot, by our very freedom. Our free will binds us. But as free will creates the conditions that externally limit us, so it can uncreate or dissolve them. The universe, being deductive only, cannot refuse us anything. The very force that makes us sick can heal us. The force that makes us poor can make us rich. And the power that makes us miserable can make us happy. If this were not true, there would be duality in the universe, and this is impossible. Ernest Holmes from the Science of Mind textbook, page 90. Skipping that one, last one. There is a laughter of God, let's laugh it. There's a song of the universe, let's sing it. There is a hymn of praise, let's praise it. There is a joy, a beauty, there is a deep abiding peace, Let's experience it. So I want to close with this idea. You and I are a living spiritual mind treatment. That's what came to me yesterday. I'm a living spiritual mind treatment. I am God. Step 1, your definition of God. Step 2, unification, I'm one with God. Step 3, realization, affirmation. I am the movement of spirit, so are you. And step 4, thanksgiving or acceptance. It's a living thing. It's a living thing, thanksgiving and acceptance. And then it's a letting go, release, step on release. So those of you that have taken classes, the 7-step treatment has a denial step in it. The denial step is denying the denial. So when I'm experiencing the living treatment and I forget, I can stop and pause and deny that and then reaffirm the truth. So you and I are a living prayer. We just forget. And then we can very gently find ways to remember or to remind ourselves. And so it is. All right, Miss Rhonda, bless us some more.
We're in a season of darkness, where it gets darker a little bit earlier. But sometimes, what I've learned, and I'm a few years shy of you. What I've learned, and December is always a review month for me because I'm a December baby, 23rd. So it always starts a process for me. But sometimes you have to step into the darkness to actually see how bright the light is, to see your own light. So I wrote a song called Illuminate the Truth. Welcome the shadow, step into the night, embrace the darkness to see the light. No panic, just breathe, no static, just ease. Illuminate the truth that lives inside of you. Illuminate the truth, let the light break through. Look deep in the darkness so that you can see. Reveal the reflection of your inner beauty. No panic, just breathe, no static, just ease. Illuminate the truth that lives inside of you. Illuminate the truth, let the light break through. There is a light that shines in every one of us. Heal the darkness and you will be made whole. No panic, just breathe, no static, just ease. Illuminate the truth that lives inside of you. Illuminate the truth, let the light inside of you. Illuminate the truth. Let the light break through.
I love how you get to turn to music your process. It's such a gift. It's such a blessing to me, and I know to many. So I want you all to think about for a moment that in the 60 years, well, almost 70 years of existence of Center for Spiritual Living in Morristown area, that's our foundation. That's what we are supported by. Even if you just arrived today, that has been there all along. So just think of how much love and support there has been for us, for you, for me. I think about my teachers, my prayer partners, my friends, my colleagues, my family. There's members and friends of this community. There's just been so much support. And I know I haven't always been aware of that. And now that I feel so free, I'm just so aware of it. And so I invite you to just really be aware that there is a spiritual ancestry, part of this community, that is supporting you, that has been supporting you no matter when you showed up, and that continues to support you. So I want to do a spiritual practice right now. So I invite you to close your eyes and just take a breath into that awareness that you are so supported and so loved by everyone and everything that's been a part of the science of mind since its beginning over 100 years ago. Even Ernest Holmes, when he thought up this stuff, his support is still part of our foundation. It's still here to guide us all the time. If we get to tune in to that and feel that, there is an ease and a grace. As Rhonda's song, there's a letting go of resistance. So maybe you can feel yourself in a bubble that is supported by all those people that have ever been involved with our beautiful teaching since the beginning of time. It's just like with your own ancestors back to the beginning, that you are here because of them. It's another level of support in the human experience. And so now only look back over the last year, just like I did. Just look back over the last year. Just kind of go back to a year ago today and see if there are a few things that you feel you've learned, ways you've grown, maybe some things you've let go of or have forgiven, maybe something that you've really embraced that is rich and filled with joy and gratitude. And now maybe think of some things that made you grieve. Maybe some losses that you had. Some heartaches that stand out. And just feel love and compassion for that self. Because you see, it starts with us. If we have heartache, it starts with loving ourselves there, embracing ourselves there, having compassion for ourselves there. And then the outer is just icing on the cake, so to say. It's just additional support and love, affirming what you've already discovered within yourself. And now just let yourself be grateful. Grateful for opportunities to learn and grow. And even grateful for some of the losses, because they too are there to show you that you are loved, that you are lovable, that you are loving. But most of all, that you are enough. You have enough. And you do enough. And so now bring your attention back. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So Gail has offered to do Treatment Express today if anybody is in need of a spiritual mind treatment or an affirmative prayer. In 2 weeks, actually next week is the last day we're taking in gifts for the inmates at the Morris County Correction Facility. The box was empty last I checked. I am seeing it full and overflowing. The things for you to bring are very specific. They're on the back of the flyer over there or in our constant contact. I'm looking for 2 volunteers that are free on Monday morning to help putting the gift bags together at Calvary in Morristown. So let me know and I'll hook you up. And then the week after, on the 15th, I'm doing an only in-person workshop called Holiday Blues and Reds and Greens. This is maybe helpful to those of you that are struggling with the holidays. We're going to make it fun. It's good to sign up, but if you don't sign up, it's fine because I'll be ready. We're doing a forgiveness practice online. You have to sign up for it. It's 28 days of mindful practice on forgiveness. This is a wonderful practice where you get a voicemail every day, and it's Reverend Michelle Wadley created it with David Alexander. Michelle wrote a lovely book on forgiveness. And then on December 31st, as always, for the last 3 decades plus, we do the World Healing Meditation at 7 a.m. right here. And we have our first concert already in the books. Thank you, Kathy. It's going to be January 25th, next door. It's Christine DeLeon and Frank and Hank, who some of you have heard before. 7 p.m. Saturday the 25th. Get your tickets in advance because they're a little less expensive. And come join us. Take any of the flyers and put them up anywhere you like. So I think of how you, members and friends, since the beginning of time, are the ones who have sustained this community. Because without you, there'd be no me. Without you, there'd be no community. So we are incredibly grateful for your presence, your participation, your service, your donations, your gifts, and any other way that you have been part of this community. If you want to give back, there's many ways to do that. One way is to make a donation today. I'll pass the basket. If you're not giving today, just bless the basket. Or if you want to volunteer, we always welcome volunteers. You can give online. There's lots of ways. Most of you know about this. So let's do an affirmation together. Repeat after me. Divine love consecrates my gift.
Divine love consecrates my gift.
It goes forth.
It goes forth
To heal, prosper, and bless.
to heal, prosper, and bless.
It returns to me,
It returns to me,
multiplied abundantly.
multiplied abundantly.
As I share my good,
As I share my good,
I accept my greater good.
I accept my greater good.
And
And
so it is. So I'm going to do a closing treatment, a closing healing treatment now, and then Rhonda is going to do another song for us, right? All right, so let's close our eyes. Again, let's know this. Each of us is dwelling in a consciousness of infinite, unconditional, divine love. That's the very core truth of who we are, always have been, always will be. As a soul, life is eternal. This very short human experience is just one part of it. And it's about opening our mind, our heart, our body, our soul to this infinite love. And the cool thing is that since it's infinite, there's always more to embrace. It's never about, I haven't done enough, I haven't received enough, I don't have enough. It's always about, oh, there's more. There's more awakening, there's more healing, there's more available, there's more love, there's more grace, there's more abundance, there's more health. And today we let go of this idea that there isn't enough, and we embrace the truth, which is always enough and then some. And so each of us is part of this celebration, this anniversary, each of us in our own unique way, because each of us is having this very unique individual experience. No two are the same. And today we can celebrate that and trust that for ourselves and for each other. So we claim this beautiful freedom that is ours to experience, to live, to see, to feel, to know, to accept, and to trust that life is always showing us more and more of who we really are in the oneness of spirit, in the oneness of love, in the oneness of life. And so what's left but to feel infinitely grateful for this community, for this teaching, for one another, and for the love that sustains us. And so it is.
And so it is. So on this one, I've seen you kind of swaying. If you want to dance, I don't mind. Got one up. When we come together, things will all get better. There's more than enough for each and every one of us. Hear the cries across the nation, saying no more separation. No one should be left behind. Now don't you think it's time? Everyone needs a seat at the table.
Yes.
For only then will we be able to find a way out of confusion. The way forward is inclusion, 'cause when we come together, things will all get better. each and every one of us. No matter what color or creed, we all have basic needs. A place to call home, peace of mind, and some fresh air to breathe. No matter where you start, we can all do our part. It's time to find a better solution. The way forward is inclusion, 'cause when we come together, things will all get better. There's more than enough for each and every one of us. So we put our hands together. When we come together,